Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Frank Mularcik, and in this video, we're going to be looking at my dividend portfolio for the month of April 2022, specifically looking at all the dividend increases we got. We did get some this month, which is pretty exciting, and looking at the dividends we received, as well as just how the portfolio is looking as a whole and kind of my thoughts on the portfolio moving forward. If you find value in my videos, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. This is Frank Mularcik. So we only ever update this portfolio spreadsheet with buys and sells or dividends once a month basically. So this is kind of what it's looking like before we update it. And we can see right here we have a few dividend increases. So the first one was from Apple, only about 4.5% dividend increase, which is a little bit disappointing. If we go over here, their average 5-year dividend CAGR over the last 5 years, basically, their dividend has grown on average about 8.75%. So obviously that is not great to see that the CAGR is 8-9%, and we only saw a 4.5% increase this year, but we will clear that out. And then the next one here is from Johnson & Johnson, about a 6.5% increase this year from Johnson & Johnson, which I was actually really excited about. And if we look over here, their 5-year dividend CAGR is about 5.8%, so they're definitely above that range, which is very exciting for sure. And the next one is going to be from Procter & Gamble here, about a 5% dividend increase from them, which is just a little bit below their 5-year average of 5.5%. So, that's pretty much in line with where they were at. I know the past year or two it's been closer to 10%, but 5% is certainly solid for a company like Procter & Gamble. The next one here from Southern Company, only 3% increase, but they are in the utility sector, generally have a bit of a higher yield with a lower dividend growth rate, and so they only grew the dividend 3% this year, and it's been on average 3.31% over the last few years. So that is definitely exciting to see. It looks like this dividend actually goes to a few more decimal places, so I need to include that to clear that formatting there. And then the last one was from Travelers, about 5.7% increase from them, which is right in line really with their 5-year average of 5.5%. And so, nothing to be disappointed about there. Obviously, I would like for it to be a little bit higher, but it is an insurance company, nothing crazy there. So those were the dividend increases for the month, and we can see the total dividend income projected is about $63 per year, and the average 5-year CAGR is around 8%, which is pretty exciting. And I'm actually getting this 5-year CAGR dynamically now, which is super great within Google Sheets. So I'm going to be making an update video on that within the next few weeks on how to add some more data in to get from your Google Sheets scripts. So this is kind of equity and income by sector. Obviously, industrials and healthcare are pretty large pieces of the pie there. And interestingly enough, consumer staples is around 9%, which is definitely still a decent chunk, but it's a lot lower than it used to be. And I remember I used to have a lot in consumer staples, and I wanted to bring that down some, which I've definitely done. Definitely would like to bring up probably, consumer discretionary some, and, like utilities, communication. I really don't have much desire to bring those up that much. They're in a pretty good spot right now. I would probably want to, even out some of these, so bring healthcare and industrials down just a little bit. But overall, I'm pretty happy, I would say, with where this distribution is. It's not too crazy. So now we're actually going to go over to Fidelity and basically look at my transactions. So these are all the transactions for the month from April 1st to the 29th. Obviously, the 30th was a Saturday, so it doesn't make sense to include that. So we're just going to download all these transactions, and then we will go back to our Google Sheets and run this Python script that I have developed. And I'm definitely looking to sort of transfer this to a Google Sheets script at some point in the future, which would be pretty cool, and eventually hopefully add some sort of support for other platforms other than Fidelity, which would all be long-term goals for me. That's not stuff that's going to happen overnight, but we'll let this script run and we'll come back in a few minutes and see what happened in the past month. So the script has finished running, and we can look here and see that we deposited $77 of cash, which is sort of not exactly correct. We'll sort of look at the reasons for that and kind of how I'm treating these transactions in my spreadsheet. So basically there was a spin-off from AT&T, so we basically didn't have enough to get shares of Discovery, Warner Bros. Discovery, so we just got the cash amount in our account. So sort of treated as a deposit in my script, and I'm going to be sort of editing the transaction in my portfolio spreadsheet to make it make a little bit more sense. The only thing we bought this month was JP Morgan and Leggett & Platt, about $40 total. No sells, and we got dividends from Cisco, Leggett & Platt, and Coca-Cola for a total of $2.96 in dividends this month. So looking at the spreadsheet, the dividend income increased to about $65, so about $1.50 there. And if we look at these transactions, we can see these transactions right here, just these few transactions, JP Morgan, Leggett & Platt, and then these cash deposits. So this $17.16 was basically from that AT&T spinoff. And the thing that I noticed is that because of the way my spreadsheet is treating this, just treating it like a cash deposit, obviously for one, my average costs are going to be off, because after that, spinoff, basically the stock price of AT&T is adjusted a little bit, sort of like it was split almost. So my average cost is going to look off. So if we look in this performance tab, it looks like my average cost for AT&T is $26.74. And if we look in my Fidelity account, it actually says right here that my average cost is $20.49 per share. And that's basically because, like I said, the cost was adjusted a little bit. So what I realized I could do is, if I basically go into this transaction and edit it, make it look like a transaction with AT&T, and then say the shares are like 0 shares, and then the actual order price, just make that like a negative value. If we can do that, right? Make the order price like a negative value. And then if we go into our performance, it says that our average cost is $20.17. I'm not exactly positive why it's a little bit off still, because Fidelity is saying that our average cost is $20.49. So it's just a little bit off, and that is a little odd, but it's a lot closer. So that's definitely something I would like to look into a little bit closer at some point, but like I said, it's not that big of a deal right now. And sort of because of that, I realized that there was another error in my spreadsheet with Pfizer, because there was a similar spinoff with Pfizer back in November of 2020 with Viatris. And so we again look in my account. This time I only got $3.72 in cash, so it's not that big of a deal, obviously. But if we look over here, it says my average cost from Pfizer is $39.17. But if we look at my Fidelity account, it shows as $37.65. So that's a decent bit off. So we can do a similar thing with this transaction, just change it a little bit, make it 0 shares, and then just make that a negative number. And then if we go back, our average price is a lot closer at $37.57. So just little things there that obviously the portfolio spreadsheet isn't like perfect at tracking those kinds of things, but I can make some small adjustments, I guess, to correct that. So looking now at the dividend payments down here, just a few from Coca-Cola, Leggett & Platt, and Cisco. May is already turning out to be a big-ish month, obviously with AT&T and JP Morgan paying out. So that will be exciting to see for sure. And April, $2.96, a little bit higher than January, which is great to see. That's really what matters to me, is seeing steady increases over time. And obviously looking on the quarter, not much to see there. Q1 was about $12.70. Definitely hoping to top that. Probably top $13 would be a good goal. And then on the year, nothing really too exciting there yet. And if we look at this changes over time spreadsheet, we can kind of see the growth of my dividend income over time. After many months, it's starting to look pretty cool. I should probably take these numbers off the spreadsheet because it looks pretty annoying. Pretty cool to see these changes. Obviously, the change from the beginning of April, from the beginning of March to the beginning of April, our dividend income increased by about 2%, and our dividend CAGR went down a little bit. But I'll be excited to see what happens for the beginning of May. This should update any day here for the beginning of May. But this is just something that's a little bit cool just to track the progress over time. And then the other thing I wanted to show was this value over time, which is sort of tracks the value of my portfolio every single day, the dividend income and the dividend yield. So just some cool graphs here. I think it's only been a few months, but we're starting to see some fluctuations there, and hopefully in months and months and years down the road, we'll see some steady growth over time. The last thing I wanted to mention was some changes to the spreadsheet I made. So basically, pretty much, I believe everything aside from the ticker symbol is now dynamically grabbed, obviously aside from this dividend amount. That's sort of manual, but the years of increasing dividends I've been able to grab dynamically, and then also the 5-year dividend CAGR. Basically, I'm just pulling dividends from the last 5 years and then manually calculating it, and that's working very well. And then the payout ratio as well, I'm able to get that basically just by taking the earnings per share divided by, the dividends divided by the earnings per share. So definitely going to update my scripts on GitHub for you all. So if anyone is using that or just using it as an example, you can see those changes, and hopefully that will be helpful to some people. So let me know if you do have any questions down in the comments below, and definitely let me know how your guys' portfolios have been doing in the month of April. Obviously, some downward pressure in the market, but nothing I'm not prepared for, I guess, in terms of the dividend portfolio. Nothing that's unexpected, I guess. So over the long term, these companies are going to do great, and that's really all that I'm concerned with. So again, let me know how you've been doing this past month. Just want to thank everyone for sticking around to the end of the video, and I'll see you in the next one.